Hi, my name is Carly, and I did my evaluation of a famous speech on Mary Fisher. Mary Fisher had a speech in 1992. It was at the Republican National Convention address, and it was based on HIV and AIDS. Now, she actually had AIDS, so it was a little bit easier for her to speak about this. But her main idea or central idea for making this speech was to get HIV and AIDS noticed, for people to not be embarrassed to talk about them, to not be embarrassed about having them. And she actually mentioned that everyone whispers about it, everyone keeps it in secret. And it was her job she felt, to make it come out and make it addressed. She wanted to just really break the silence on HIV and AIDS, which is very hard to do. So one of the things that I really liked about her speech was the fact that she was so open. Having HIV or AIDS is a very difficult thing to talk about. I know for myself, if I did, I probably wouldn't want to say a speech about it in front of thousands of people. But she did. She felt like she had to almost advocate for all these people that had it, that didn't want to speak about it or didn't want to tell anybody about it. And I mean, I kind of understand it. So she felt like it was her position and her job to let everyone know that it's okay to talk about it. The hard thing for people is that they just get, placed in this category of judgment-based and prejudice. People just want to talk bad about them and talk bad about AIDS. And, AIDS is something that is sexually transmitted or transmitted through sharing needles. So it's something like, oh, well, it's just like a gossip talk that makes it really hard for people to come out because it's scary. You don't want to be publicly embarrassed. I really like how she stated that her family was, behind her, and her family supported her, and she talks about her children, which drew an emotional factor for me, even though I don't have kids, but it's very emotional to have HIV or AIDS and have children. I love how she pointed out the diversity factor, how it's not just white females that get AIDS or HIVs, it's males, gays, straights, blacks, whites. It can be any walk of life, any human life that can get AIDS. And I think that's super important because it's not just one select group that she's talking about. Because then, that's where your judgment and bias comes in. I also really like the fact that she used statistics in her speech. I do feel like that almost draws the factor like, oh my goodness, that's a lot more people than I thought. And maybe I know somebody who's just not talking about it because they are scared too. So it's kind of cool how she, stated that millions of people actually have HIV or AIDS, and we don't know. So I think that her speech was very good in those aspects. Some certain things that I didn't really like about her speech was I didn't really like how she didn't first off explain what AIDS was. People do often, know what it is, but, there's some people that don't, so I feel like explaining it would have helped. I also feel like she put a lot of fear in people as far as saying, if you think you're safe, you're not. I don't think that's a very truthful way of saying things. I feel like she needs to say maybe you need to make sure you're protected, protect yourself at all times. Something about protection. Saying that you're not safe, I feel like is kind of threatening. And it's just not, it makes your trust level go down. Overall, I do feel like her speech was very informative and effective. She kept me engaged the whole time, and I even felt sympathy for her family, and her children. So I feel like this is a very good speech that people do need to hear. Thanks.